continuing with history of Savate, another very important day was 1877, and so we had all those fighters that were developing very personal styles and fighting for the supremacy of their own style, and gyms started to open. The self-defense became much more of an important aspect. But a person that was very important in the development of Savate is Joseph Charlemont. So in 1877, he wrote the first treaty of boxe française Savate, and he explained the different techniques and described the ways of executing those techniques, the mechanical principles behind them, but not only for the striking techniques, also for the stick fighting techniques. Can, which is what wealthy people used to work with in the streets, and so that was a great means of self-defense as well. And also the long-range stick fighting, which is called bâton. In parallel to this, all the striking techniques found defenses to it, including throwing. Most of the throw-ins are very similar to the Greco-Roman styles. So Joseph Charlemont was the first one to really put in writing everything that he knew about Savate, after observing, of course, what was happening and which style he thought were the best. His son, Charlemont, became also a very, very good fighter, and 20 years later he wrote another treaty that was even more comprehensive than what his dad did. So Savate evolved, as I mentioned earlier, in the big cities, Toulouse, Marseille and Paris primarily. Few confrontation with English fighters to try to see what the supremacy of which style would be. So a lot of fights, which again we're getting a lot of exposure through newspapers. And it developed to the point where in 1924 it became a sport demonstration at the Paris Olympic Games. What is important to understand is the dueling tradition that comes from fencing, where there was a very clear distinction between what English boxing was and the fact that they had unlimited rounds until someone was declared the winner. In Savate, there's always been this tradition from the time it was developed to respect the fact that they were striking. So it was actually a touch, and the ref would declare a touch, and then the flow of the fight would break, and they would start for a new sequence of action. So that's the way it was at the Paris Olympic Games, including the throwing. So you score some amount of point for technique to the head, for a kick to the head, for a punch to the head, or for a throwing. But every time a technique was scored, then the bat would be stopped and start over again, just like we see in fencing. The development of Savate kind of stopped after this period. The reason why is not really known, even though programs developed through the army using Savate as a form of exercise, where people would be in line executing techniques more as an exercise, as a gymnic activity, than really fighting art. So Savate tended to disappear. A few gyms they opened. It was not really organized as a federation at the time, and it really fell down the drain for a long time. And if it wasn't for one person, Count Baruzzi, who was himself a very good competitor, and he won titles in every weight division, and I think he's the only one in the history of Savate who actually did that. If it wasn't for him, I don't know where we'd be left of what we know now as Savate. So it worked really hard to keep Savate alive, and Savate resurrected in 1960s It became organized within a federation of judo. It had its own committees and start to organize competition and training, like a general training for instructors. And that carries all the way to the 1980s, which saw the first international competitions in Savate. In 1982, I believe, were the first European Championships.